Welcome to The Knockabout. We are a football podcast where we try and take a bit of a lighter look at football. All brought to you by Le Bomb, the app where you bet against your mates.
As it is January, and the January transfer window always brings up some great stories, some great players, some pretty terrible players that have, and dealings that have been done. Yeah. We thought we'd have a little chat about some of the more historic ones. So, do you want to start by who would you say is?
I think for everyone's got that person for their club,
100%.
that they recognise as like a January signing. Juan Mata for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't someone who we'd been like chasing. It's often like a bit of a panic buy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Someone who's not happy at their club and you end up getting them at your club. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Juan Mata, I remember he arrived. It was Moyes, wasn't it? I'm sure it was Moyes.
Yeah.
And he arrived in a helicopter. I really remember that.
That's
so
awesome. That's proper January transfer window stuff.
The late drama.
So he would be one that sort of feels like a bit of a panic buy for United in that time. Ended up having a good career at United.
Yeah.
We really liked him there. Took us through some shit years. And then the other one that United have had, which is a big one for us, Fernandes came
Bruno
in.
Fernandes, I really remember that. Bruno Fernandes signing. I really remember Fernandes signing. And it felt like a massive transfer at the time.
It doesn't feel like a January signing because we chased him for about 3 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If there's a player where you were trying to get them, and then they come in January, it doesn't feel like a January signing.
100%.
You know
They're usually a bit like, off field. So what's the word I'm looking for? Left field. They're usually a bit left field.
Van Dijk was that for Liverpool a bit. Where they were trying to get him, and he ended up coming in January.
100%.
So I guess there's those two sides of things with the January signing.
Sorry, I'm really quickly. There we go. But for me, I think I just wanted to confirm it was January that happened. Yeah, I really get. I mean, to the two sides of January, I always think. I think I said this on the pod before, but it's which way Liverpool Football Club. Is it Andy Carroll? Is it Luis Suarez?
Yes.
That is the January. Is it Van Dijk? That they have these ones in January, or is it? Because January is one where someone's had a good first half of the season. You slightly panic by them at an inflated price. Torres to Chelsea.
Talk about an inflated price. Coutinho went to Barcelona
150 million.
Yeah.
Nutty bananas. And that, obviously that was great for Liverpool because it meant they could buy Florian Wirtz this year and stuff. And,
there's still a high interest rate.
They invested it well, but that's a classic because I think Andy Carroll for me is the definitive January signing.
And the pictures as well, by the way, the signing pictures.
I remember that. It was Dalglish, wasn't it? It was Dalglish.
Yeah,
because Hodgson had brought in some weird ones in September. I think for me the greatest January transfer thing to happen though.
All right.
Is Peter Odemwingie turning up to QPR to try and force his move through. I remember that so clearly. And it's been spoken about a lot.
Who was he playing for at the time? So he was playing for West Brom.
He fell out with Steve Clark. Steve Clark fell out with him over this. And he drove in his hilariously 2013 car all the way to QPR, got to the door. And it had never been actually formalised, the deal. And I've heard them speak about it. Redknapp and Odemwingie and Clark and everyone. And I think what had happened is Odemwingie was like, he claims he was mistold, that he was already signing for the club.
An agent has bigged up their job there.
Yeah.
They've gone, mate, I've got you in at QPR. And he's gone, I'll get in the fucking car and go.
Let's go.
Let's do it, lad.
Get the paperwork ready.
Yeah.
It meant that he was out, he didn't play for the entirety of February. He was just at West Brom. Everyone hated him. He's booed. He never really recovered from that.
It's so true. He really didn't. And it is the brutality of that is quite funny, isn't it? But that is a historic one. That's a famous one that sort of sticks in the mind.
Oddly enough, I think it's a really good thing for Peter Odemwingie because without that,
we wouldn't be talking about him right now.
And I know it's those players that have one thing they talk about on every podcast.
He's landed in culture a little bit.
I feel it's well, thank. It's
he'll live off that.
He forever is the guy that turned up. It's like a few weeks ago we were talking on the podcast about Dave Jones talking to Jamie Carragher. He will forever be known as the person. I think
if his money ever runs out, he could do adverts sat in a car park as the Peter Odemwingie. Do you know what I mean? Somehow he's advertising something to do with desperation.
Yeah, turn up
last minute
shopping.
Yes,
last minute Christmas.
That's what I'm on about.
Starts now.
Don't leave it to the last minute Christmas. Peter Odemwingie arriving outside Aldi. Well, they've got Kevin the Carrot at Christmas. Actually,
I'm sure he's all right for cash, but if he ever runs out, he's got that in the bank, hasn't he? Where a lot of other footballers don't.
If this finds him on his algorithm and he's like,
oh well, he will because
he got onto his agent. get onto DFS, mate, and we're onto something here.
It very much will, because Peter Odemwingi's other big thing is that he is a singer-songwriter.
No.
On TikTok.
You're
And
lying.
you will often I will get live videos of Peter Odemwingi playing
this
guitar.
is not true. Is it religious stuff?
It's very religious. So he loves the word of God. What he will do is he'll sing some sort of religious songs. However, I do think there was a time I saw him doing Wonderwall as well. Like he does do some chart hits
just
as well.
to branch out to his kind of fan base.
But it is one of the. So I would say he is known for turning up to QPR. If he turned up to QPR with a guitar,
it would have all gone
like,
differently.
Let me in to the club.
Amazing.
That feels very Fever Dream-ish.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
It does.
I was not expecting that.
It's such an amazing last-minute sort of career change. Because other singers, Glenn Hoddle, of course, Hoddle and Waddle, or Glenn and Chris, of course, did Diamond Lights, which charted at number 14 or something. They did that. It charted at number 14. They did it on Top of the Pops. A great video. And again, I always think this Glenn Hoddle, Chris Waddle. Hoddle and Waddle, and they went for Glenn and Chris.
Yeah, that's pathetic.
But are they trying to be like edgy?
Yeah,
Everyone will say we should have gone this.
Maybe they thought Hoddle and Waddle would be, a sarcastic business. Maybe they wanted to be taken
Well,
seriously as
Glenn Hoddle
artists.
does like singing. He obviously was grandfather clock on The Masked Singer. Also, they did a follow-up song to Diamond Lights, which I can't remember the name of. I'm very sorry to everyone involved. But he thought it was a better song. But he moved to Monaco, so he couldn't really promote it in the UK with, Chris Waddle. So he ended up going abroad and never really did it.
You've just given me
Not sure we can say
a
that
great
legally.
idea for what would be a marvellous way to do January transfer window, masked singer style.
Oh, do
so
like a
you
mask.
don't know
Amazing.
who your club has signed,
Until
and then
January
all the
3rd.
fans around them going, "Take it off, take it off," and the camera's going round like
That's
this thing,
great.
and then boomf,
That's
and you've either
amazing.
got a Luis Suarez or
you think it's going to be
an
Harry
Andy
Kane,
Carroll.
and it's Andy Carroll
I am
from 4th Division French club.
always makes me
That's
think
it.
of one of my favourite stories that Joe Cole told, which was that when they did, he was saying that when they did the Masked Winger, so there was a tie-in with the Masked Singer in Soccer Aid, and the Masked Winger came out at half-time. And it was like,
So
who's
this
just going
has
to be
been
play
done?
the second half? Who's going to play in the second half? The Masked
Oh,
Winger.
wow, so that's been done.
And in the stadium, it's not quite what you've done, by the way,
Yeah.
because I think yours is better. But they were like, who's it going to be? The Masked Winger. And you got Joel Dommett there chatting about it, and we knew at the ground that day. He was saying, he's like, we knew at the ground there was Ronaldinho was in the stadium.
No way.
yeah.
Beckham was in the stadium. So we were like, who the fuck is going to play the second half? And they took it off, and it was Stephen Mulhern.
oh no.
And I've watched the
That's-
video, and it's like the whole audience is like, it's going to be Ronaldinho. It's going to be it's Pele's ghost. Is like, and it's like, it's the bloke from Catchphrase. What the hell?
Can I say? I interviewed him once. Lovely man.
I can
I'm sure he
imagine
is.
that he is
Lovely man.
lovely,
Sure,
but
yeah.
if you expect him Ronaldinho,
Yeah.
He's lovely. I will say he's not one of the all-time best Brazilian footballers.
Have you seen him play? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like-
well, I have.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
because he
have.
got
Of
taken
course
off.
you have.
Paul
Yeah,
Scholes was
bullshit.
livid about this. Apparently, Paul Scholes and Justin was like, "What the fuck are we
Paul
doing?"
Scholes does not hide his emotions at all.
No, no, no.
Beautiful. to
and I
watch.
can just imagine them walking past each other after
Yeah.
Stephen Mulhern sort of like, hey, and, oh no,
Yeah.
that's outrageous.
That's amazing.
Just on January transfers
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well,
yeah,
because I just want to say on Everton's, I got to say Seamus Coleman, man.
Oh,
Like,
what a great January
60
transfer that
And I'd
is.
never think of him as the sign of a great January transfer.
You don't think of them
Like
as a
Van
January
Dijk
transfer.
was January, but he feels summer.
Yeah.
as well. Even
Bruno-
though,
Bruno Fernandes,
feels
yeah.
summer.
And pound for pound, £60,000 from
Amazing.
Sligo Rovers, and to this day
Wow.
he's still Everton captain.
Yeah.
And again, that was Moyes who brought him in. So for you'd say what some of your best ones, or Mata was
Yeah.
a Moyes signing, and
Yeah.
Seamus Coleman. I don't think you'll ever get a better deal than that in football.
We signed. We had this hilarious January window.
Here we
once
go.
Where we signed.
Here's someone you've never heard of.
Stephen Mulhern.
Here's someone you never heard of talking about Plymouth Argyle.
Steve Mulhern would be a signing for Plymouth Argyle, let me tell you.
Probably will appoint him our next manager. Yeah.
That I would love to see.
Oh my god! Well, in January last year, we made a couple of fantastic signings. We signed Katic, who was an amazing centre back, and we signed Telyarov, who was an amazing centre back. And they sort of turned our season around. But we also signed a bloke called Michael Baidoo, who is, and I'm so sorry, mate.
Is he shy?
He's the worst signing we've ever made. we broke our club record, 1.5 million.
This often happens.
He played like 6 games for us, didn't score a goal. He was a Ghanaian striker, so everyone was so excited to see him at Brentford away. Everyone bought Ghanaian flags. He now plays for Qatar All-Stars, or FC Karabag, that's it.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh my God, not FC Karabag, that's a proper team in Europe. But it's like absolutely bizarre. So he went, but we had a January transfer market, I really remember, where we signed... 2 years ago, we signed a lot of players who were there for development for a couple of years, but we got promoted massively sooner than we all thought. So it meant when we went up, we had all these players who were like, "Oh my God bless Ben Wayne." I love Ben Wayne. He was one of my favourite players we ever had because he was. Well, he was a good-looking guy as well. He was a good-looking guy. He was
definitely British.
He was very
English.
No. New Zealand. He's going to be at the World Cup.
All right,
and
okay.
He was very my type, which looks a bit like me. So I was having a sort of me and producer Lucas talking about.
But a good-looking guy.
He's not. Did you say not?
I said, but a good-looking guy.
Absolute twat.
Okay.
And he was very good. He was a fantastic player. He sort of ran his heart out for us. Wasn't brilliant. He's now scored 3 and 3 at Port Vale, so I'm quite happy for him. Tyreek Wright, back to Bradford. Callum Wright now, none of them have stayed from this insane January transfer window, and it just feels very...
Those are often the ones that are like hyped up, or the big, bank bursting ones. They tend to be the ones that flop. Like you see that all the time. Yeah, it's a strange one.
I think we'll do well to beat Seamus Coleman
as a success.
If anyone can think of a better success story of a January transfer signing than Seamus Coleman, we would love to hear about it.
And shall we say the reverse? If anyone could think of a worse one than Andy Carroll,
we'd love to hear a bad one.
Please.
So that's it for this week. We're obviously taking a little break during January, but we are going to be releasing these mini episodes sort of every Thursday, chatting about some of our favourite moments of 2025 and a little look at things like this, January transfer extras as well. Thanks for listening. We'll be back shortly. We'll see you again soon.